Getting cancelled is the worst thing that can happen to most YouTubers. One moment, they're hanging out with A-list celebrities.
What's up guys, I'm here with Justin Bieber today, and today we're gonna see what do people think about Justin Bieber.
The next, they're filming the typical YouTuber apology video.
I'm sorry for everybody I've let down. I'm sorry to my family, and I'm sorry to my friends that I've embarrassed, and that this won't happen again.
Begging for a second chance from fans who have already turned their backs. But that's not even the worst part, because some don't just lose their audience, they lose their freedom as well.
A judge sentenced Austin Jones to 10 years behind bars.
Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we're taking a closer look at the lives of popular YouTubers after they were cancelled by the internet. And while some might argue that a few cancelled creators didn't entirely deserve their fate, that's not the case for the first YouTuber on our list, 8 Passengers. 8 Passengers was the name of a family vlogging channel, run by couple Ruby and Kevin Frank. They, alongside their 6 children, posted regular videos showcasing their day-to-day life, from house parties and holiday celebrations to the mundane stuff like grocery shopping. Many viewers also loved Ruby's stern but grounded parenting style, which quickly earned her a loyal following. By June 2020, the channel had over 2.3 million subscribers and over 1 billion views. Everything looked great on the surface, but as is the case with many other family vlogging channels, 8 Passengers was hiding a dark secret below the surface. Both Ruby and Frank were horrible parents who exploited their kids for online fame and fortune. It took a while for the viewers to notice the abuse that was happening off camera, but once they did, the red flags were everywhere, like the oldest son Chad complaining in a video about how Ruby took his bed away and forced him to sleep on a beanbag for 7 months.
My bedroom was taken away for 7 months and then you give it back like a couple weeks ago.
I don't think our viewers know that.
You've been sleeping on a beanbag.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October. And they gave my room back like 2 weeks ago.
All because he played an ultimately harmless prank on his little sister.
That I woke Russell up at 2 in the morning and told him that we're going to Disneyland and he has to pack. And he got up and made his bed all neatly and then packed all his clothes in a suitcase. And then he walked out the door and I'm like, Russell, he's like, what? And he's all happy, has his sunglasses on.
What's worse is that right after Chad told his story, Ruby doubled down on her decision instead of apologizing for her cruel and unjust punishment.
Do you think it's funny? Because
and then I walk out.
If you think it's funny, then that was 7 months ago. Maybe you need longer without a bedroom.
It was not funny.
In another instance, Ruby talked about receiving a call from her 6-year-old daughter, Eve's teacher, saying that she didn't have her lunch that day. Instead of simply packing the lunchbox for her daughter and delivering it to the school like any normal parent would, Ruby chose a different approach. She turned on the camera and began preaching about how this was going to be a valuable lesson for Eve, a 6-year-old.
Just got a text message from Eve's teacher, and she said that Eve did not pack a lunch today, and can I bring a lunch over to the school? Responded and just said Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did pack a lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry, and hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch.
By this point, it was clear that what Ruby called a firm parenting style was nothing more than heartless abuse. And these weren't isolated incidents either. As viewers rewatched her content, they discovered countless instances of her treating her kids poorly, going as far as calling dinner a privilege and threatening to take it away.
Torturing him, stop it. I know you're not, but it looks like you are. Okay, Russell. I'm only gonna say it one more time, and then you're gonna lose the privilege to eat dinner.
A comment on YouTube put it best, reading, "This is not a human. This is a monster. Worst power-hungry control freak manipulator I've ever seen." The backlash was swift and intense, prompting her to delete some of her more controversial videos. But the damage was already done. Some viewers even went as far as to file a petition for authorities to investigate Ruby. She tried to justify her actions by claiming that the only reason she got cancelled was because she showed what a responsible mother looks like. The backlash eventually became too much for her to handle, forcing her to stop posting new videos on her main channel. But it seems like she didn't learn anything from the scathing online criticism, because in August 2023, Ruby was arrested on child charges after her 12-year-old son arrived on the neighbor's doorstep looking malnourished and incredibly weak, almost as if he'd been for weeks. The officers who arrested Ruby also revealed that the young boy had visible injuries along with tape marks around his wrists and ankles. Thankfully, Ruby's reign of terror had finally come to an end. Her children were taken in by protective services, and after a trial in February 2024, Ruby was sentenced to up to 30 years in prison. Unlike Ruby, however, the next YouTuber on our list managed to avoid legal trouble completely, despite the many controversies that destroyed his career. At the height of his popularity, David Dobrik was inescapable on YouTube. Each video he uploaded racked up tens of millions of views, and his fans loved every second of it. And as you might imagine, this level of fame also translated into millions of dollars in monthly earnings. But then, the allegations began to pour in, the biggest of which involved his friend and video partner Dom Zeglitis, allegedly essaying a girl during filming one of David's blogs. This raised serious concerns and left many wondering if David knew all along and just chose to stay silent to protect his own reputation. Especially since viewers found old tweets of him saying things like, "If I left everything in the vlogs that I recorded, we'd all be in prison." But this was only the tip of the iceberg. Around the same time, David also came under fire for several other career-ruining controversies, including him injuring one of his Vlog Squad members, Jeff Wittick, while trying to perform a dangerous crane stunt for a video, tricking another Vlog Squad member, Seth Francois, into kissing Jason Nash without his consent, and mistreating several other members, such as constantly mocking Big Nick for his dwarfism.
My God, I don't know why this is so adorable. Why have we never thought of this before?
Look at that. I can do that. Come back.
Now make him taller. He goes boom. Sick, an empty Lamborghini. Oh, my bad, dog.
Fuck up, bitch.
Put your head into a bunch of melted airheads. Finally, I can make fun of something that you weren't born with.
To say that these controversies destroyed David's career would be an understatement. He instantly became the most hated person on the internet around that time, with people criticizing his every move on social media. The fun-loving, wholesome persona that he had spent years building was completely shattered. It was replaced by the image of someone who only cared about views, no matter how many people he had to hurt in the process. As a comment on YouTube mentions, David is the type of dude who wouldn't put out a person on fire without first pulling out a camera. He lost all of his brand partnerships with massive companies like EA, Chipotle, and Dollar Shave Club, and to top it all off, YouTube demonetized his channels in March of 2021, leaving him with no stable source of income. He tried to continue posting vlogs, hoping the controversy would eventually blow over, but it never did. So a year after his demonetization, he posted his last video and vanished from YouTube. Now, many of his YouTube viewers believe that David disappeared from the internet entirely, but that's not the case. Because, as it turned out, after ruining his reputation on YouTube, David moved to a new platform that no one expected, Snapchat. And while this allowed him to make some money by posting videos, it wasn't enough to escape the backlash, with people still bringing up his controversies even 3 years later. That said, he did upload a new vlog on YouTube in January 2025, likely to test the waters. And judging by the number of views, he might have a chance of making a comeback after all, something that looks increasingly unlikely for the Completionist. There was a time when Gerard Khalil was known as the wholesome uncle of the online gaming community, who loved two things: completing video games and helping those in need. This positive reputation was partly fueled by his charity, the Open Hand Foundation, which according to its mission statement is about trying to, quote, find a cure for frontal-temporal dementia. And what made this charity even more meaningful was Gerard's personal experience with the horrible effects of dementia.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Indie Land. We're raising money for dementia research in honor of my late mom, who passed away only a few years ago.
And that personal connection clearly resonated with his audience, helping the charity raise over $600,000 through his yearly Indie Land livestream events. However, what looked like a noble cause on the surface turned out to be nothing more than a shameless scam. The truth came out in November of 2023, when Carl Jobst and Mudaha from Some Ordinary Gamers did an investigation into the Open Hand Foundation and discovered something shocking.
The point
is, this is still money that's sitting in their account. Now, me and Carl actually started a conversation with Gerard to get his side of the story, and he confirms that the money is still sitting in the account.
Put simply, the money his viewers passionately donated to help those in need never reached the people it was intended for. And instead of owning up to his mistake, Gerard thought it would be a good idea to deny the allegations.
I'm here today to provide clarity and transparency to set the record straight. I want to make it 100% clear. At no point in the Foundation's history was there any criminal or financial fraud. None.
And threatened legal action against Carl and Mudaha for exposing him.
Saying that we are fraudsters, that what we are doing is illegal and constitutes charity fraud, that we are using my dead mother's name to potentially embezzle money and steal is categorically false. I should have been more transparent about the money not being donated, and that's on me. But my family and I have not done anything illegal, not before then and not since. And as mentioned previously, we have correspondence from the IRS to prove that. Furthermore, my family and I are in serious conversations with our legal teams regarding next steps, as the allegations that have been made with complete disregard for the truth of the matter. These allegations were made by individuals who self-admittedly aren't even financial or legal professionals. These allegations are slanderous, and we believe we're done with selfish intent.
As evident from the 75,000 dislikes on the video, this did not go as well as he likely expected. He did try to say something resembling an apology at one point during the video.
Most importantly, I want to apologize to anyone who ever donated over the years who felt they were wronged or led astray by any of this.
But this only made the backlash more intense, with one angry viewer writing, "I want to apologize to anyone who ever donated, who felt they were wronged. They didn't just feel wronged, they were 100% wronged." This one video single-handedly destroyed any chance Gerard had at regaining the trust of his audience. He lost more than 160,000 subscribers over the next few months, and the views on his videos kept plummeting, ultimately forcing him to quit YouTube altogether in August 2024. No one wanted to support him on Patreon either, leaving him with no source of income. But even that wasn't the end of his downfall, because as it turned out, Gerard's company had filed a bogus lawsuit against the most well-known GTA 5 roleplay server, NoPixel, in May of 2023. And unfortunately for him, the case didn't hold up. In October 2024, the judge ruled decisively in NoPixel's favor, resulting in the NoPixel team seeking over $230,000 in legal fees. We've all got those habits that just stick, whether it's grabbing a drink to fit in at a party, or reaching for something just because your hands feel empty. For moments like that, Fume, the sponsor of today's video, is a game changer. Fume is a flavored air device designed to give you something better to reach for. It's completely nicotine-free, has no vapor, and comes in non-toxic flavors like crisp mint, my personal favorite. Fume doesn't require batteries or charging, so it's always ready to use whenever you need it. To sweeten the deal, it's also a third of the cost of most habits, making it an affordable and guilt-free alternative. Think of it as an awesome way to fill in that hand-to-mouth fixation without any of the usual downsides. Plus, Fume doubles as a sleek fidget tool with satisfying magnets and clicks, perfect for keeping both your hands and mind busy. Want to try it? Head to tryfume.com/internetanarchist and use code internetanarchist to get a free Fume topper with your journey pack. Over 500,000 people have already added Fume to their daily routine, so scan the QR code on screen and start your better habit journey today. So not only did Gerard lose his entire audience in a matter of days, he's now on the hook of hundreds of thousands of dollars he likely no longer has. A similar fate befell EDP445, who lost everything after being cancelled on YouTube. EDP started his YouTube career all the way back in 2010. However, the thing that made him popular was his complete lack of a filter. He wasn't afraid to speak his mind, no matter how gross or weird the subject matter was.
Yeah, I just took a mean ass Chipotle. I used so much tissue to wipe my ass with. When I flushed the toilet, it didn't go all the way down. So,
but what no one knew at the time was that underneath his open personality, EDP was hiding a dirty secret. It started in 2020, when rumors of EDP being a PDF file began circulating the internet. No one believed them at first, but then in July of that year, someone posted a nearly minute-long video showing his extremely inappropriate messages to someone he thought was a 16-year-old. Things only got worse in April of 2021, when a group of YouTubers called the Predator Poachers tricked him into thinking that he was talking to a 13-year-old. And after exchanging some extremely inappropriate messages, EDP made plans for an in-person meetup only to get exposed in front of the entire internet.
What brings you out here today?
Well, I was coming out here to...
Glasses off.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I was actually coming out here to pick up a cupcake and then go back home.
This was the end of his decade-long career. YouTube deleted his accounts and banned him from ever returning to the platform. However, this was just the beginning of what would become one of the most devastating downfalls in YouTube history. Soon after his YouTube ban, people mass-reported his Cameo account and got it deleted, taking away EDP's last source of income. Left with no other options, EDP decided to go offline, hoping to find some peace of mind. But the people of the internet weren't planning on letting him off the hook this easily, and started destroying his life bit by bit. No matter where he went, people kept tracking him down and continued reporting his actions to his landlords and employers. As a result, he was evicted from several properties and was fired from the security job he was doing to make ends meet. He tried driving for apps like Lyft, Grubhub, and Uber Eats, only to get banned there as well. He even tried to apply at Chuck E. Cheese, but was denied after they found out about his heinous actions. Desperate to regain some privacy, EDP filed for a name change. However, as luck would have it, someone found and leaked his government filing, making the whole thing pointless. Now, you'd think that after getting dragged through the mud, both online and in real life, EDP would learn the lesson and stop chasing cupcakes. And he did post a half-assed apology in July of 2023.
Take full responsibility for my actions that happened on April 21st, 2021. The entire YouTube down, the entire YouTube incident, you know what I mean, that went to, I'm not even going to get into it. You guys already know what happened. I'm taking full responsibility, full accountability for my actions.
He doesn't even say what he did and what he is guilty of. He just loosely refers to it vaguely and brushes it off quickly. That is the opposite of taking accountability.
But even this fake apology was nullified just 2 months later, when he was caught trying to meet a minor again, this time by Gideon.
Do you think we're here? If you could guess, Bryant, why do you think we're here? Could you answer me that, Bryant? Bryant.
Since then, he's made several attempts at making a comeback on YouTube, TikTok, and other random platforms, and each one of them ended in complete disaster. That said, even if he manages to attract some viewers, the cupcake incident will haunt him for the rest of his days, just like the lies and manipulations of Boogie2988, which will remain a part of his identity for as long as he's remembered. Boogie2988 was one of the OGs of YouTube. He started back in 2006 when the site was in its infancy, and quickly gained an audience thanks to his lovable, down-to-earth, and funny personality.
Here's the Boogie Monster on Sesame Street, and we're gonna teach you how shapes work. Big, small, big, small!
His ability to not take himself too seriously resonated with viewers, allowing him to gain millions of subscribers on YouTube. He was even named the Trending Gamer of the Year in 2016.
Trending Gamer. The Game Award goes to Boogie2988.
And his fans couldn't have been happier. What they didn't know at the time was that the Boogie they admired was about to be replaced by a lying, manipulative, angry man. The incident that sparked his downward spiral happened in 2017, when, after a successful weight loss surgery, Boogie announced that he and his wife were getting divorced. This plunged him into a deep depression, and as a result, his content began to suffer. He eventually promised to take things in a positive direction starting from 2020.
We are going to start looking at language. We are going to start looking at tone. We're going to start looking at the overall positive and negative aspects of a video, and we're going to be supporting positive uprising stuff, and negative stuff is going to get pushed further down.
However, this promise was immediately undercut when his new girlfriend, Lucy, came forward with allegations of abuse. You see, Boogie met Lucy through a site designed to connect sugar daddies with sugar babies. But according to Lucy, not only was Boogie incredibly toxic, he didn't even pay for the service as he was supposed to.
So I dated a YouTuber, and for his sake, I'm just gonna call him, what should I call him? Asshole. It would turn into an argument every time I tried to leave. Why are you trying to leave me? You know I need somebody right now. Blah, 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 blah. You know. So I'd sit in the back room and I'd wait for him to finish up doing his work and whatever. And pretty much I was not making any income. I was scraping to get by, to be honest with you. Like I'd ask him, hey, can I put some money into my bank account so I wouldn't get an overdraft? Okay, well, here's, $20.
Boogie completely denied these allegations and moved on. However, this incident served as a wake-up call for his viewers, who were a bit more critical of their favorite YouTuber. Around this time, a now-deleted Reddit thread also brought forward many instances of him being a complete hypocrite. It included proof of his prior corn blog and misogynistic views on women, evidence showing his harassment towards his ex-wife even after their divorce, his tendency to be angry and toxic behind the scenes, and so much more. The allegations of his toxic personality were also proven true in 2021, when he got in a fight with another creator and ended up firing a warning shot. This resulted in him getting a felony, but the worst was yet to come. In the years following this incident, Boogie's financial situation took a sudden and sharp decline, and no one knew why. Sure, he made some bad crypto investments, but that wasn't enough to explain how it could get this bad. Well, the truth came to light in a 2023 documentary by YouTuber Mike Klum, revealing that Boogie had spent over $200,000 on sex workers in the past few years, all while he was crying to his fans about his worsening finances. Even his most loyal viewers were starting to have doubts by this point. However, the final nail in the coffin was his promotion of a scam crypto coin in June of 2024. This was a step too far, costing him the little positive reputation he had left. However, when CoffeeZilla confronted him about the scam, he tried to play it off as a joke.
Here's my shitcoin. If you want to be broke too, buy my shitcoin. That's what I say in my tweets.
What's the joke about you getting paid to do this, though? And asking people to invest in this coin? I mean, what's the joke exactly? You know people are going to invest. That's why you're getting paid. You know that.
But when that didn't work, he brought out the victim card and claimed that he had spent the money he received for promoting the scam on his cancer treatment.
I have a lot of medical bills, and I'm fighting cancer, and I very much like not to go around with my healthcare too much.
He had first mentioned this cancer over 2 years ago, and it was one of the main reasons so many people were still donating to him till this point. But with everything he'd done since, people became skeptical of his cancer story as well. And sure enough, it turned out to be a complete lie.
99% sure that you are faking. No, don't move. You are faking your cancer diagnosis, Boogie.
He'd been steadily losing viewers for years till now, and his cancer diagnosis being a lie drove the remaining supporters to abandon him as well. Boogie2988 was officially cancelled by the internet without any chance of a serious comeback. He'd since tried everything he could think of to revive his YouTube career, like lying about getting a liar tattoo on his face. Unfortunately for Boogie, the massive audience he once had is simply not there, and the ones that are still watching him are just doing so to make fun of him in the comments, with comments reading, "The only thing dead here is your channel. I applaud your ability to ignore your dignity and to continue to try and stay relevant, regardless of being a catastrophic YouTube embarrassment. As well as, you need to be legally required to carry a plant because of all the oxygen you waste." At this point, Boogie has two options: step away from the internet and find a real job to support himself, or keep subjecting himself to this constant humiliation from the few viewers he has left and hope they don't lose interest. Whatever Whatever happens, one thing's clear. He's got no one to blame for his situation but himself. That said, everything Boogie did, from the lies and manipulation to the crypto scam, pales in comparison to the evil crimes of our next cancelled YouTuber, Austin Jones. Austin Jones was a music YouTuber who first became popular for his unique a cappella style rock song covers. He also found success with some of his original music and eventually crossed the 500,000 subscriber milestone. However, instead of building a proper music career or earning more money, Austin decided to use his online fame to fulfill his sick PDF file desires. The truth came out on May 10th, 2015, when the music-related podcast, Pub Fresh, released an article detailing some of the vile messages he'd sent to his underage fans, with one of his victims writing, "He sent me the video of him teaching me how to twerk. He said, okay, now it's your turn. I didn't think he actually wanted a real twerking video, especially since I was effing 13. The article also linked to an example of the teaching videos he sent to his victims when making the disgusting request.
Like the first basic twerk move. So this is what you do. You stand with your legs apart, you bend your legs, and then you arch your back and you unarch it. And you do it faster so it's like popping it. So it's like...
And whenever one of his targets turned him down, he'd try to guilt trip them with lines like, "Really? Sad face emoji? Great, now I'm in an even worse mood." As the victim described it, "He made me feel bad about not doing it and said how he was having a bad night and they were cheering him up, and was basically making a sub-story." There was enough evidence in that article to end Austin's career 3 times over. After seeing the extent of it, most viewers expected him to deny the allegations outright. What no one saw coming, however, was that he'd post a video straight up confessing to everything.
I've recently come under some fire on social media for mistakes I've made in the past. I used to ask fans for twerking videos. Yes, twerking, the dance move. It's not something that I'm proud of. It's not something that I think is right, and I shouldn't have done it.
He did his best to downplay the situation by avoiding any mention of the fans' ages and insisting that things never went any further.
There are a lot of rumors and a lot of lies. They're just not true. Nothing ever went further than twerking videos. There were never any nudes, never any physical contact. It never happened. So, I just have to get that out there because nothing ever went further.
However, no one was buying these excuses, with a commenter stating, "He is not sorry. He's just mad that he got caught, and now he wants to play with your mind, and feel sorry for him." But he pretended like he didn't care and went back to making music videos. He even turned off the comments under his videos to dodge the backlash, hoping that people would just move on and forget about his crimes. Unfortunately for Austin, people didn't forget. By 2017, his reputation as a PDF file had become common online knowledge, as several more victims came forward with their stories as well. The internet wanted nothing more than for him to get what he deserved. And that's exactly what happened on June 14th, 2017. Apparently, his online cancellation caught the attention of the authorities, who began investigating Austin not long after the Pub Fresh article was published. And once they had enough evidence, they arrested him at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport as soon as he returned from his Europe vacation. He knew there was no way out of this, so in 2019, he pleaded guilty to the charges and was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison, followed by 8 years of supervised release. Despite his best efforts to dodge cancellation and keep his music career alive, he got exactly what he deserved in the end. If you got this far through the video, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one.